Warning, the Stone Age Gamer includes a lot of bad language. Cover your mother***ing ears.
Good evening and welcome to the Stone Age Gamer Podcast. I'm Kris Randazzo and joining me tonight is Hollywood lawsuit waiting to happen, Dan Ryan.
What do you think my lawsuit would be? I mean, I hope it's something silly and not like super scandalous.
No, it's going to be you being sexually harassed.
Oh, yeah, no, that for sure.
Anyway,
you seen my beard?
Nah,
oh my god.
Mm-hmm. The Stone Age casting couch is back with video game movies theoretically about to explode. Who would we cast in various projects? Don your red trench coat because the Stone Age Gamer Podcast starts now.
Who could it be, Kris?
Who could it be? Anyway. Hi, everyone. This is episode 459. It is the week of April 21st, 2023. And Dan, I have good news.
Put it in me. What's up?
I finally busted out the trencher.
Oh, yes.
My Christmas trencher has been assembled and utilized, and my front yard looks wonderfully trim.
It's so satisfying.
Oh, my God. So, all right, this was wonderful, right? I'm very proud of this. I'm very proud of a couple of things. Did I tell you how I repurposed my hammock last time?
Maybe, but I might not have been listening, so you might as well tell me again.
It was with the playground, and I repurposed. I had a hammock I was getting.
No.
All right, so we built the playground in the backyard. That was the whole thing, and
termites,
then good times.
Yeah, the whole thing.
So there was supposed to be a cloth roof type thing to this thing.
Yeah.
And I'm looking around the yard and I'm like, oh, look, this it's time to get rid of this hammock, right? This hammock is old and all the ropes that hold it together are coming apart and we don't use it anymore except the kids flop around on it from time to time and threaten to hurt themselves. So I think it's time for me to retire the hammock. And as I'm walking the hammock off the yard, I look at the thing and I'm like, outdoor fabric. So I repurposed the hammock to make the roof for the playground, and that was really cool. So I'm proud of that one. But this one I'm also very proud of. The dog has been digging these pits in the yard, and I've talked about it before. I was going to, get some grass seed or whatever in there. So I'm doing the trenching, and I'm pulling all this, 2 inches at a time of grass off the sides, just peeling the edges off that I just cut through.
Not realizing how much more sidewalk you actually had.
Exactly. And as I fill up this trash can, my can that I was going to put out on the curb, I'm looking at it this is basically sod.
Yeah.
So I just took all that shit. I went over to where I can get some free compost in my town. I laid that out to fill in the holes and level the ground. And then I just laid out like a big puzzle all these strips of grass that I cut off from my front yard over the dead patches that my dog had dug through in the backyard. Boom. Insta-sod.
Nice, man.
I was very proud of that. But yeah, man, the trenching was fun. It was a first round, so it's going to require a little bit more upkeep. I'm going to need to get in there and trench again because it's sharp, you know what I mean? It's all very deep and not even in a lot of places because I was getting the hang of using the thing and everything, and so it's going to require a little bit more work. But you got to finesse it.
I do.
Now I have to
the edge.
I know where to attack it from, which parts of it are going to be more difficult, which spots I missed, which lines aren't exactly straight. But it's nice because it's got edge trimming setting and a trenching setting, so I can just flick this switch and it won't grind into the side of the sidewalk and won't actually try and dig the trench anymore, so I can just roll it to take care of all the edge trimming and stuff, which is I'm very much looking forward to, because now the pitiful battery that I have left on my actual weed whackers I can just use for the handful of things I need to do that for.
It's such a ridiculously satisfying thing.
Oh my god, it was so much fun.
I show every time I do it, and still, this is why we're fucking stupid. Boys are just, we never grow up. It's just the shit that we like go to show the women in our lives. It changes. Like when you're a little boy, you're like, I peed in the fucking potty, and you're so fucking excited about that. And your mom's like, yeah, that's great. That's fucking awesome. You did it yesterday and the day before, and you did it again today. That's great. And like now, the equivalent to that is every single time I do the yard work out front, I'm like, honey, you see the fucking edge though? And she's like, yeah, no, that's a great edge. I've seen it. Good job, baby. I'm like, you don't fucking care. You don't appreciate the edge work that I do for this house.
Karen gives me the pity. It looks good, you know?
Yeah, it's great.
Hey, I wanted to say yard looks really good. And I'm like, I know you're faking it, but that means the world to me.
I know, right? That's the thing. If it were genuine, it's so important.
It fills my heart that she's willing to go. It's like when she gets a haircut. I never notice she gets the same haircut all the time. So like I rarely even notice when she gets a haircut, but I will pay attention to when she leaves to get the haircut. And then when she gets back, I will always say it looks nice. And she knows it's not 100% genuine. She knows I don't necessarily know the difference. She just knows that's how my brain works. But she appreciates the fact that I will go so far as to pay enough attention to say, that looks good.
That looks nice.
So yes, the front yard is looking pretty good. The grass is coming in nice. Most of my plants are doing really well this year. One of my azalea bushes is like mostly dead, and I have no idea why. And that makes me very sad because I don't think I can fix it. I think it's just toast. It's just the one of them that I moved because I moved a couple of years ago. I shifted everything around, and like there's this one azalea bush that just isn't. The one azalea bush isn't coming in, and I think they're hyacinth. I don't know what they are. I can't remember what they are. They're not hyacinths. They're farts. It's another kind of flowery. It's not quite a bush, but it's not like a little flower either. It's like these groups of flowers that come in every year, and one of them is doing a little better than it was last year. It was a smaller one to begin with, and it like really didn't do well last year. It seems to be doing a little bit better this year, but there are these things that you are supposed to not cut them after they die in the end of the season because then they won't flower. So I left them up last year, and 2 of the 3 are just doing fantastic. The third one is like a little weak, and it's on the opposite side of the azalea bush that's also mostly dead. So those aren't doing so great. However, I got these from from my in-laws. It was growing out by them. I got them maybe like 4 or 5 years ago. It's a bleeding heart flower.
I got a bunch of those in the front yard.
They're really weird looking, right?
Yeah, they're fucking wild.
I love them. So I got one of these, and like the first year that I brought it over, it was already mostly in bloom, and it looked great. In the second year, it came back a little weaker, and then last year it was like barely alive.
Oh,
this year it is bigger than it was the first year. This year it is coming back freaking gorgeous. It's already bloomed. It's got like 4 or 5 full strands of these beautiful pink hearts across them. They're just, I'm so thrilled with it this year. And those big, super tall, I talk about them every year. It's these big like orchid looking flower things.
Yeah.
I have like 3.5 of them growing now.
That's awesome.
It was one for years, like 2 or 3 years. It was just one that we were barely able to keep alive. And then last year I wound up with 2. This year I have 3 plus like another mini one. Like it's growing. I don't know what it's going to do because it's like 1/16 the size of the other ones. It's definitely the same flower. It's definitely the same thing, but it's like,
it's just like the little brother showing up like, forget about me, man.
I don't know what it's doing, but I'm excited about it.
Mom said I could come too.
But I think the thing I'm most excited about, and I'm working extra hard on it this year, is the tomato plants. Because last year I didn't get a really good crop of tomato plants. What I did last year is I just let them all die right in there. I didn't do any cleanup until like winter. I just let it all take care of its business. And even then I barely cleaned up anything. I let all the fruit just lay where it did. Almost there are so many tomato plants growing currently in there. They're just little tiny sprouts. I barely got any actual fruit out of them last year, and by the time I did, the fruit wasn't even looking all that great, so I just kind of let it lie. This year, I'm determined to get a really good tomato crop, and I'm off to a great start. I haven't planted anything new. I didn't even do anything to the soil. There's just clusters everywhere in that flower bed. That garden bed. I am super stoked about it. I'm carefully watering them twice a day. I'm just being really, really, really extra careful with them. But like every day, a few more sprouts grow, and the other sprouts just keep getting bigger. And I have no idea what it's going to look like this year. I hope I am inundated with more tomatoes than I know what to do with. That's my hope. In my heart of hearts, I want more tomatoes.
So that you can be that neighbor, be like, I got so many fucking tomatoes. Come take it. I brought you some tomatoes.
That's what I want. I want nothing but BLTs and salads this summer. I'm just going to eat tomatoes constantly.
Well, no, you got to make your own fucking sauce for your pizza, man.
Yeah, that's a pretty good idea. If I get enough of them, maybe I'll jump into that. I have tried making pizza sauce a handful of times, and I have never been able to do better than Cento. Cento pizza sauce is just, it's
I don't know.
Good.
Like when I used to walk home from school where I went to school in Williamstown, and I would go to my buddy Mike's house, and he lived on Main Street in Williamstown. And the way we would cut from the high school back, I say the old high school. None of you guys, well, some of you who are listening know what I'm talking about, but not most of you did not go to Williamstown High School where I did. So originally in the old building, which is like now the middle school, I'm pretty sure, when we would walk home from school, we would walk by there's a pizza sauce factory in Williamstown, Don Pepino.
Don Pepino. That's good pizza sauce.
Yeah, it's pretty good. And like where I went, the town I grew up in, I loved it when I was a kid, but like it's kind of schmucky. Like this, it's schmuck adjacent. And if they in that town could come up with a good pizza sauce, I believe you could do the same, Kris.
I'm convinced that I can. I'm sure if I put the effort into it that I can. But here's the thing. I've tried it a bunch of times and I've come up with decent pizza sauce. My kids like it, my wife likes it, but all of us agreed, like, this is good, but it's still not as good as Cento.
It's because you're not putting MSG in there.
I don't know that MSG is in there. I don't know that MSG is in the Cento sauce either. I have to look at the ingredients, but Cento is in Jersey. I didn't know that. They do all their do all their canning and stuff in New Jersey. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Which is very exciting because I loved, hooray for supporting Jersey. Go team.
Jersey versus everybody. I literally fuck everywhere else. And I mean that honestly. Like I love our listeners in Ohio and all over the fucking place. Like except for the Carolinas, because fuck those places. But in particular, fuck North Carolina. But no, like Jersey versus everybody. Everywhere else sucks compared to New Jersey.
I think that will be one of my missions this summer is to try and figure out a better homemade pizza sauce.
Yeah.
Because, I'm already making the dough,
This is what I'm saying. Like, you are fucking, like, 2 steps away from opening up your pizza shop. So,
were we talking about the brick oven last week?
Yeah.
Yeah, I really want to do that. And yeah, I guess at that point, if I have my own brick oven and I'm making my own dough, I really should be making my own fucking sauce.
Yeah, really, you got to get a cow and start fucking making your own cheese. Kris, what are you doing today? I'm slaughtering hogs for the fucking sausage.
Making the sausage.
What the fuck happened to Kris? I don't know, man. He bought a house. Now he's got fucking cows out back and pigs. It's weird.
I'm going to slaughter somebody else's cows.
Oh, you're just going to go find a random cow like, hey, come here. Fuck. What's wrong with you?
You look good.
Why are you running away? You look delicious. Come here. You big bovine bitch. Get over here. Oh my goodness.
So yeah,
Man, I think if you open a Punch-Out themed pizzeria place, it seems like a good idea.
Phenomenal. Is that where we're going next? What did you think?
I thought it was fucking great.
Yay!
I genuinely loved it. I thought it was great.
Me too.
I liked it.
Bowser was so good.
Jack Black as Bowser. I didn't know that is what I wanted Bowser to be. But it 100% was.
That scene with the was it the Bowser's Fury metal music going and the crowd's reaction to it, and then I'm gonna marry her. They're like, what?
Oh, so good. It was so good.
I'm still thinking about that scene where she's just at the end. Did you really think I was gonna marry you? Well yeah, kinda.
Makes you come out of your shell. Oh, it was really good, man. I genuinely enjoyed the shit out of it. I loved all the little references. I love the Mario Brothers rap in the beginning. I thought that was really cool.
John is unironically listening to that all the time. All week long. The Mario Brothers rap, Peaches, the Peaches song, but like the Mario Brothers rap keeps coming on, and I'm just like, dude. Because I never really showed him the cartoon for more than like a couple of seconds.
It's not good.
It's not
I like it, but it's not good.
I do wonder what he would make of it. Like, God, when did that come out?
Oh, it was like 89? Maybe later?
God, is he older than I was? Yeah, 1989 was when that first aired. So he's 9 years old now. I was... Oh. Yeah, I was 8.
Yeah. You're right around the same age.
We're right around the same age. He might get a kick out of it, but like I showed him some of it because he's listening to the rap. I'm like, that's literally this theme song to the Super Mario Brothers Super Show. And I showed him the intro and he's like, oh, that's cool. And then we start watching the cartoon. He's like, is that Birdo? I'm like, yeah. Why is Peach's hair red? No, that's Princess Toadstool. And that's not Bowser, that's King Koopa.
All right, Dad. Fuck this.
Good times.
I'm done.
Good.
Yeah,
times.
no, I was really, really happy with it. I thought Chris Pratt was fine.
Yeah, he's perfectly fine.
Perfectly fine. I don't think he did anything terribly, and I don't think he did anything to stand out as Mario. I don't think that I still think it should have been Charles Martinet. I don't think there was anything that was done in that movie that he could not have handled. I really don't.
I don't know about could have handled. I still don't think for the everyman Brooklyn guy they were going for, I don't think Charles Martinet's regular voice would have been exactly right. I don't know. And I really liked him as the dad. I really liked him as the dad. I thought that was a really good way of handling that.
Because I said that because I took the kids to go see it. That was like the first thing they wanted to do on spring break. And I was like, yeah, we'll fucking go see the movie, whatever. And I told them as we were driving home, I was like, it's kind of cool that they at least included Charles Martinet, because that was their big thing too. Like, especially Katie, she was like, I don't know why fucking Chris Pratt had to be in this movie when Charles Martinet is still alive. And I was like, well, he was in the movie. And she was like, well, but who was he? And I was like, well, it was his dad and the little
Jumpman Giuseppe.
Jumpman Giuseppe.
That's great.
And she was like, are you fucking kidding me? They put him in the movie, but not as Mario? That's fucking bullshit. She was so mad. And I was like, whoa, kid. First of all, calm down on the swearing. I know your mother's not here, but Jesus. Because that was a direct quote. That wasn't me embellishing and talking the way I talk. That was the way my daughter in the car. That's fucking bullshit. Like, oh, I'm doing such a good job. Yeah, I don't know.
But like at that point, if you're like, oh, well, you insist on Charles Martinet being Mario, but he's not doing the Mario voice, at that point you have to, if you don't want Mario to sound like this, then you have to be like, all right, well, then we need to cast somebody who's going to be good at the voice we want Mario to be, and not just on ceremony. Well, Charles Martinet's Mario in the games, he's got to be Mario in the movies too. Like, well, I don't think that's the right call, but I do think it was nice that they had a part for him, and then that part was Mario's dad. I was a fan of that, and Chris Pratt again. I agree with your assessment of Chris Pratt. He was fine. He did nothing wrong. He didn't do anything completely outstanding, but it was a good time.
Yeah,
it was fine.
I thought Anna Taylor-Joy did a good job as Peach. I mean, I think she fucking does a good job in everything, though. I think she's incredibly, incredibly talented. Did you see the restaurant yet, or the menu? It's the menu, the one with Ralph Fiennes.
No,
she's really good in that. She was fucking even good in that New Mutants movie. The movie's not good, but she was good. She was magic.
Oh God, she was.
Yeah, she was good. She had the little fucking dragon too, for some reason, that Shadowcat usually has, or that Kitty Pryde usually. Lockheed, is that his name?
Really? She had Lockheed?
Yeah,
that's
but
strange.
Magic had I don't know. It was fucking weird. Anyway, regardless. Charlie Day, I thought was good. Like, I thought everybody was good. The only one that I kind of had an issue with,
Cranky Kong.
No, I adore
Fred
Seth
Armisen,
and Fred Armisen. Yeah, he's kind of a douche, but I like him a lot. Really, just Kamek.
Really, I liked that. The kind of Igor's voice. That was great.
I don't know why. I don't know what. It's just, I don't know. I didn't love it.
Yeah, I thought that was great.
I didn't hate it, certainly. I don't know. I thought it was awesome.
I'm really, so really glad to hear that.
Yeah. I was really happy with it. I think the one thing I thought was a little weird, there was
the love scene? That was pretty...
there was a lot of nudity in this movie. I thought that was a bold move for Nintendo's first like family feature film, but like they're a Japanese company, things are different. No, I thought the decision to like go back to the real world was a little weird at the end.
Yeah, that was. I mean, I didn't have a problem with it per se, but I also didn't really find it all that necessary. But I guess
where do you go from there? Because now, like, the whole world knows about the Mushroom Kingdom.
Do they, though?
I mean, yeah.
They know something happened. The Men in Black will come and clean that shit up. But that's the other thing. It's that was the post-credit scene.
Weird.
There's a Yoshi egg in New York now. That was the post-credit scene. So that's clearly where they're going. I also thought it was interesting that we don't know where Peach is from.
Yeah, she's from, like, the Upper West Side. For sure. She's a girl of class, Chris. Maybe even Queens. She might even be like a suburb. She might be like Yonkers or something. Definitely not Staten Island.
No, she's not a Staten Island girl.
No, for sure not. I lived with them for a year. Oh, man. I'm like, I don't know. I thought it was really good. I don't think, honestly, though, like my honest opinion of it, I don't think it was that much better than the Sonic movies. And I know you 100% disagree with that. I think it's
I don't think it was, as a movie, I don't think it was that much better than the Sonic movies, because I don't greatly dislike the Sonic movies. They're fine. There's just, I have major problems with them on a
storytelling.
Just on a really core level. I have intrinsic problems with those movies. On like the premise of those movies bothers me so much. Whereas this was like, a Mario movie, whereas those were like a movie that we put Sonic in. And as movies, no, I don't think this was. I don't think this was much better. I do think the only thing that really puts it as a better movie watching experience is the fact that it embraced the absurdity of the Super Mario world. Whereas Sonic would have been so much cooler if it could have just embraced the complete absurdity that is Sonic's world.
Yeah, I really liked that training scene. I thought that was really cool. I thought when there were a couple moments in the movie where they cut the way they shifted the camera to make it look like a level, I thought was a really cool choice.
Oh god, that one in the real world when they're first running to their job and like all the way they made 1-1 out of that, like the boxes on a shelf in the background, is like, that's really clever. Well done.
Yeah, well done. That's coming from a place of love. Like I thought that was really awesome. But
those music choices really though, like,
yeah, it was good. It was good.
The Take On Me scene, I'm like, why are you doing this? You wrote great music for this. Why is Take On Me happening when we're on go-karts riding through Donkey Kong Country? This doesn't make any sense. Why is this song here? Sleep Till Brooklyn? Okay, sure. We're in Brooklyn. That's great. Throw that one in there. Have a good time. The I Need a Hero for the training montage, it's done to death, but I still chuckled. I'm fine with it. I will live with that just fine. Take On Me had nothing to do with that scene. It was
Don't
baffling.
They ride go-karts in that video somewhere along the way? Isn't there like a go-kart chase or something? I haven't seen that video in a very long time.
I just remember all the sketchiness and them looking through a door, and then there's like sketches or whatever. I don't remember go-karts.
I feel like there's a go-kart in there somewhere.
That's pretty fucking flimsy. Even if there is, that's a really flimsy excuse to put that song in that scene.
I mean, it's a good song.
It's a great song. It was a great song and a great scene, but it's like, chocolate and tuna. It's two great tastes that taste weird together.
I mean, I don't know. Have you ever tried it together?
Chocolate and tuna?
Yeah.
No?
How do you know they don't taste great together? Yeah, I'm looking right at the very beginning. He's pouring.
Let's call it an educated guess.
Right here at the very beginning, they're on like motorcycles with sidecars.
Yeah, that's not go-karts.
Yeah, no, I mean, no, it definitely isn't.
There is no ape with sunglasses guiding them through a jungle.
I don't know. I can't see all of the other racers, Chris. To be fair, this guy's on like on a motorcycle. He's going like 140 miles an hour. That's way too fucking fast. Now the girl's reading. She's like reading the. This looks like a terrible comic book. I don't know. This is a horrible video. It is a flimsy through line if that's even what they were fucking thinking about. But yeah, I don't know. It gives me ultimately what I walked out of the theater thinking, yeah, like, all right, this coupled with like Detective Pikachu, which I thought was great.
Yeah, that was a good time.
The Sonic movies, and now this, like, okay, maybe we can really start pushing forward and getting actual good video game movies.
Theoretically, I got my fingers crossed.
Because we've had a lot of video game. There are a lot of video game movies.
Yeah, and every time you look at them, you think, okay, but why didn't you just adapt the source material?
Yeah.
I feel like that happens with Resident Evil a lot. Like, the Resident Evil movies, as successful as they were, very successful. There's like a bajillion of them. But I feel like every single time one of those movies comes out, it's like, okay, but why didn't you just make a Resident Evil? Like, it's already there.
Yeah, like,
you didn't have to come up with a new story.
That first game, like, in the mansion with the cat, like, that's a fucking good movie.
It just writes itself.
It's good. It
fine. Writes itself. What are you doing? You don't need to do a whole new thing. Just do that.
That TV show was so bad.
I didn't see it. I heard it was pretty terrible.
My God, I watched the first like 2 episodes and had to punch out. I was, dude, what the fuck are you doing? This is crazy. This is nothing. Why did you call this Resident Evil? This is nothing at all like the game. It would have been like, I don't fucking know. I don't even have a good comparison for how bad it was. Like, it's just, oh my God, it was so bad. But the other Resident Evil movies, especially the ones that had Mia Jovovich in it.
Mm-hmm,
Those were pretty good. The first Tomb Raider movie with Angelina Jolie, like the first one,
that was fun. I don't remember a damn thing about it, but I remember enjoying it.
I thought the Uncharted movie was really good. You still haven't seen that, right?
I still haven't seen it, yeah.
Even with Mark Wahlberg, who is just the worst fucking actor on the planet.
Oh, I don't know about that.
No.
Now as far into the Fast and Furious movies as I've gotten, I just got past the one that had Ronda Rousey in it.
I mean, I would rather...
You want to talk about some bad acting?
She's a bad wrestler. She's a bad actress. I would rather... Imagine how much better every Mark Wahlberg movie would be if you replaced Mark Wahlberg with Ronda Rousey.
No.
Like Max Payne starring Ronda Rousey?
Absolutely not. I would rather, just for the eye candy of it, I would rather look at Mark Wahlberg not act than look at Ronda Rousey not act. Even like I could mute it and get a better entertainment out of the movie with Mark Wahlberg than I would out of Ronda Rousey.
So I'm just trying to imagine Ronda Rousey delivering the lines of The Departed. Great. Or what is that movie with like one of the early Wahlberg movies where he's like a fucking gross, creepy stalker kid, like Cape Fear? No, not Cape Fear. What the fuck is that? I don't remember. Some really bad fucking movie. He's been in a lot of movies and he's really awful. I fucking hate Mark Wahlberg. He's so bad. But the Uncharted movie was fun. It was ridiculous. But it was fine. It was good. I liked it. The Doom movie was terrible. Did you ever see the Doom movie?
Oh God,
with The Rock?
I've never made myself watch that.
Oh my God.
It's been on my list
so
for a long
bad.
time because I really just want to see the
so
first person
bad.
segment at the end.
Even that part is like, they fucked that part. The whole thing is like, because I remember watching that movie at the beginning and being like, I don't know, Dwayne. I think maybe you might want to stick to wrestling. This acting thing might not work out for you. Because he's real bad in that movie.
He's
like,
pretty bad in the first Fast and Furious one that he's in, too.
He's gotten way better.
He has.
Recently.
He really has.
He's really good in Get Shorty. Did you ever see Get Shorty? He's
Yes.
like a gay bodyguard.
Right, yeah, I remember that.
He does a scene from Bring It On.
He's great as Maui in Moana, too.
He is great as Maui in Moana. What's it? Didn't they make a fucking Rampage movie?
They did make a ramp. God, I didn't see that either.
The Rock?
It's starring The Rock, but not as any of the like. I cannot believe that movie. You just look at that and be like, all right, but you had the premise was there were 3 people who turned into monsters, and you threw that right out the window and went with a totally different premise. Like,
yeah, still called it Rampage though.
What are you doing? Nobody even recognized that was a video game adaptation because it was so far removed from the source material.
Yeah. I don't know. We got to watch it though. I feel like we should maybe over the summertime try to like schedule a watch along.
Watch every video game movie. I've never seen Double Dragon.
No.
That's on my list.
There's way too many. We can't watch all of them, but like
not with that attitude we can't.
We'll do like a double feature on a Saturday night of like Rampage and Battleship starring Liam Neeson.
Yo, Battleship's fucking great.
Is it? I haven't seen it.
Oh my God, it's the best kind of stupid. Battleship is chef kiss.
I adore Liam Neeson.
Oh, me too. No, Battleship is exactly what you want that movie to be. That is, it knows exactly how stupid it is, and it wears that shit right on its sleeve. Just like, you want dumb action? Watch this shit. Watch these alien missiles that look like the game pieces flying through the air. Shit is great.
Oh, I didn't know that was the case.
I'm yes.
Really sad I haven't seen it.
Yes.
Gotta watch bitch.
You've got to watch Battleship. It's jaw-dropping. It is. It's been too long since I've seen it.
I do think the best video game adaptation because this is what I legitimately thought when I was a kid, because I was an idiot when I was a kid. But I thought The Hunt for Red October was
based on the video game.
I thought it was based on the video game. And I was like, wow, this is really good. They got Sean Connery? No shit. It's a really fucking good movie. Had no clue. No clue. Didn't think that with Top Gun. I knew Top Gun was a movie first. Thought The Hunt for Red October was based on the video game. Yeah.
I don't even know what to say.
I just being honest, Chris.
That's
just
awesome.
being honest.
Because, like, I mean, you know me and my, like, massive holes in my movie watching history. Like, that's silly even by my standards. So I'm just dumbfounded here.
But why would I have seen The Hunt for Red October as a kid? That movie came out when I was like 6.
I hadn't seen the movie when I was a kid, but I'd been in rental stores.
I was like, holy shit, it's the game. I don't no idea.
Platoon. This is based on the game, right?
There's a lot of really good video game movies. Jaws, Nightmare on Elm Street. The movies are so much better than the games they were based on. It's wild. Friday the 13th movie, so much better than the game it was based. Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. I don't know why they shot it in black and white and got a bunch of old-looking actors. Fucking make that adaptation, but
I blew my nephew's mind this weekend because he was watching some dumb YouTube video about like bad video games, and he was like, "Uncle Chris, what's the worst video game you've ever played?" I was like, "Come with me." Brought him down to the basement. I turned on Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, put the controller in his hand. I was like, "Figure it out."
Oh, it's just the worst.
He played it, and then he looked at me like, "What?" Try again. Know, good luck. So he tried it again, and he died even faster. He looked at me and was like, "What?"
Yeah.
Like, there you go. That's the worst game I've ever played. It's like, well, how do you beat it? It's like, I don't fucking know. Somebody figured
Nobody
it out.
knows.
I didn't play it long enough to beat it. I gave up about as fast as you did. My friend and I rented it. My friend Adam and I rented this when we were kids, based on like the box art looked vaguely cool.
It looked cool.
And we had rented everything else in the video store at that point.
Sure.
It was a local. That was the other thing that made me feel so old. I had to explain the video store to him. I was like, well, didn't they have like a ton of games to pick from? Like, not a Blockbuster. No. A local video game store that had like maybe 15 NES games, tops, you know? And
yeah.
We had rented most of the other
and
ones.
Like 2 Master System games for some reason. Like Hang On.
I don't think I'd ever seen a Master System game in a rental store before. But anyway, that was fun. I showed my nephew Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. Fucking terrible.
Yeah. It's a way better movie than it is a game.
And then I showed him the Super Scope, because he's gotten interested in video game history recently, which has just made me the happiest uncle in the world. And he was asking her like how many Game Boys I had. He's like, "You have a bunch of Game Boys, right?" I was like, "Yeah." So we opened my closet and looked at the Game Boys, and then he turned around and he saw the Super Scope. He's like, "What's that?" I'm like, "You don't recognize the Super Scope? Think Smash Brothers, the thing that goes shh." He was like, "That's real?" So
fucking stupid young people.
Threw some batteries in it. And
worst.
Had him play some Battle Clash, and he thought it was really cool.
Well, he is correct. Battle Clash is really fucking cool.
Yeah. He had a hard time like wrapping his head around the concept of like looking through the scope and everything, but like once he kind of got the hang of it, he thought it was pretty cool. So
yeah, it's kind of a weird thing. Like, here, play this sniper training game. Like, what the fuck are we doing?
This is weird, but it's also awesome.
It is also awesome.
It's great for blowing up robots.
It is. I agree.
So speaking of my nephew and learning about video game history, so we watched my in-laws' kids for a couple of days over spring break, and one of the first things Dylan did was he brought me this book that he got. He's like, "Oh, Chris, check out this book," and it's called The Ultimate Nintendo Fan Book. And I guess he didn't realize that it says on the top, 100% independent and unofficial. And like he hands me this book, the Ultimate Nintendo Fan Book. And I'm like, oh, okay, this is interesting. We got, a bunch of characters with various art styles on them. Some of it's Smash Brothers artwork, some of it's Pokemon cartoon artwork. Oh, look, it's Ryu from Street Fighter and Pac-Man. Okay. So I go into this book and it's like, it's got most of its facts fairly straight. But it's like, I look at this thing and like the pictures that they chose for Donkey Kong were like a screenshot from Donkey Kong Country for Game Boy Color and a Donkey Kong Jr. It's like, you're
That's
almost
weird.
there. They skip over a lot of really important stuff. But like they mention the Hanafuda cards, they mention the toys, and like it gives like this really weird, like somebody paraphrased random paragraphs from Wikipedia history of Nintendo, and then they detail a bunch of the characters, but like you can tell the people who wrote this knew about Pokemon and Mario, and like
and that was it.
The description of Samus is hilarious. It tells you nothing about Samus as a character. It's like, Samus is a popular character, and a lot of people think she's really cool. She's from the Metroid series, and she fights Metroids. It's like, and then like Mario is just, or the Pokemon will go into like some excruciating detail of like what they are and what type they are, et cetera, et cetera. But like a handful of characters, like, what are Ryu and Ken doing in this like list of Nintendo characters? They're not Nintendo characters. They're talking about Street Fighter. I'm like, okay, but they're not Nintendo characters. Pac-Man's not a Nintendo character. Sonic's not a Nintendo character. I get that
Definitely
they're like
not
Nintendo adjacent, and if you want to present them in that manner, like Street Fighter, I get, right? Street Fighter's got a huge connection to it. It was the first home console. Street Fighter 2 was the Super Nintendo one. Helped that game blow up here in the States. Okay, sure.
Well,
you want to talk about that?
And it came out at a time when our adults were still calling everything a Nintendo.
Yeah, exactly.
So
and
like
then,
that
like,
kind of makes sense.
Like Pac-Man?
Kind of.
No, I'm sorry. I don't, like, yes, Pac-Man's in Smash, but Pac-Man having like a really deep connection to Nintendo history in any way, shape, or form, like, you could even make the argument for Sonic being in the book, but not listed as a Nintendo character. That's psychotic. Yeah. And then they make the mistake at the end, but only in the when talking about, God, they talk about like the best Nintendo games and like, all right, what's the best Star Fox game? Star Fox Zero? What are you talking about? I don't, even fans of that game, I don't think would say it's the best Star Fox game. What are you talking about? And then they call Kid Icarus in one of the.
Oh, boo hiss.
But they only do it once. They bring Pit up a handful of times and they name him Pit in the book, and then they refer to him as Kid Icarus in this one paragraph at the end. Like, what are you doing? So I'm looking at this book and thinking, like, somebody should do this better. Because my nephew thinks this is super cool. And this is a great idea of, like, this is a color book that's talking about game history, and that stuff's interesting. And I think back to like the Nintendo guides that I got when the stuff you learn in Nintendo Power, or like the Mario Mania book that talked about the history of Mario and his evolution, and thinking about how cool that was as a kid. Like, somebody's got to start doing more of these things because there's a market for that, and like kids are thirsty for this knowledge, and somebody should present it to kids in a colorful way that's neat for them to read. That's not this crap. And like, it was a neat book, but I'm looking at it like, God, I could have done this whole book better.
It is true, though. Kids are a bunch of thirsty bitches.
Damn.
Been saying that for years.
Goodness gracious.
I'll write a fucking book, man.
I should.
I'll help you. You want to write a Stone Age Gamer book? Let's do it.
Let's do it. Did you play any games?
Did I play any games?
Did you play any video games in the last week?
I got myself back up to Infinite in Marvel Snap, like really quickly this season. Like I was really happy about it. So I can like, because I went and I bought the Hitmonkey card that came out 2 weeks ago with this season pass because it's fucking Hitmonkey. Like, of course I did. It's Hitmonkey. I don't know that I'm going to buy next month because it's Nebula. And if you're looking at like a $10 purchase for like all the other shit that comes with it, right? Whatever. But if I'm looking just at the cards in general, it's Hitmonkey or Nebula. Well, there's a very clear winner there. So, but it's kind of weird, right? Because you would think that the card that you're paying for is going to be like one of the better cards in the game. And he's really good, but not good enough to really be highly competitive. And since the game is 100% competitive, right? There's no like solo play mode where you can rank up or whatever. It's all playing against other people. It was like, well, I really want to use this card, but if I keep losing, that's going to piss me off. So I want to get to infinite a lot quicker. So I found a different deck and got myself up to infinite. Was like, all right, fucking sweet. Now I can just actually play the game, which isn't like the best game design choice, I feel. Like, I really, really love Marvel Snap. I think it's really, really fun. But there are issues like that pop up where I'm like, you know, the way your game is currently designed actively discourages you from playing particular cards and playing particular decks. Like, if you want to compete, if that is the thing you care about, and I understand you don't have to, right? Like, it's not, nobody's making you try to get to this particular level or whatever, then you could just play whatever you want. But if you do care about that even a little bit, it's kind of disheartening when you're like, I want to try out this new card. No, look, I've just lost like 5 or 6 levels. That fucking sucks. So grinding myself back up to infinite relatively quickly was like, all right, cool. I can just play the game now. And then we just got some new Godfest exclusives in Pad, which are really nice and really strong. It was a weird thing that happened with Puzzle and Dragons, though, and I'm interested to hear your take on this. So there are, and have been over the 11-year history of Puzzle and Dragons, a number of third-party apps and websites that have provided information for the game. Because Puzzle and Dragons, for as well-designed as it is in a lot of areas, is also just embarrassingly vague in others, right? There are active skills that you will use on a card that says, reduces damage by a little bit for 6 turns. Like, what the fuck does that mean? That's an absurd thing to say. Like, reduces it by like, you might as well just, by a smidge. It reduces your damage by a smidge. Like, fuck you. That's a dickhead thing to say. So there have been websites and apps over the years that have data mined the app itself, the Puzzle and Dragons app, to find out exactly how much a smidge was versus a Skosh, right? Like, because if it reduces damage a smidge, and this one reduces damage a Skosh, like, what the fuck? So one of those, a smidge is 25%, a Skosh is, 35%. Okay, whatever, fine. So there's one that, the biggest one right now is the Pad database. And it's an app I don't know if you still can download it. If you had it downloaded, it's not going to go away. It's just no longer going to be updated any longer because Gung Ho Japan sent out basically a cease and desist order to the guy, and it's just like a dude who does this shit, telling him that because he uses images from the game, that is a copyright infringement. He doesn't make any money off of it. There's no ads in the Pad DB app. It's just information. And at this point, 11 years into the game, there's something like legitimately, not joking, there's over 9,000 cards in the game. That's too much to fucking remember. Like, legitimately, that's way too much to fucking remember. That's absurd. That's an absurd amount of shit that is in this game. And if I'm thinking, for example, one of the new leaders that just came out works when you proc an L, right? So you have 5 orbs that you match in an L shape. Okay, cool. For each L awakening that you have on a card, you do extra damage. Well, I can go into the Pad DB app and I can look up which cards I can equip that will give me extra L's, right? So I can do more damage. That's what I want to do. That's the goal here. So instead of looking at every card, like in my one account here, I have not 3,000 days. I'm getting close to logging in. I think I'm like 100 days away from that. But I have a ridiculous amount of cards in my monster box. And not all of them are in their evolved forms. Not all of them are in their equipped forms, whatever the case may be. So if I wanted to find this information on my own and not use an app for it, I would have to go in and look. Yeah, I do. I have 3,510 cards in my monster box. If one of those cards from like that I got a month or two ago happens to have a form, that would be really good. I have to go through and check each fucking card individually to be like, oh, no, that one doesn't have an equip, or that one does. Okay, maybe that one's pretty good. Like, it's a lot of information to sift through. And it seems to me, and to most everybody else, that gung-ho Japan being like, fucking stop it, and taking these things away from their own community is kind of counterintuitive, right?
I mean, yeah, it sounds like a real Nintendo move.
Right? Doesn't it sound like a Nintendo kind of thing of, like, you have fans that are supporting your game, that are making it easier for people to play your game, and you want that to go away.
It's that overzealous protection of the IP, and, like, I'm not a multi-billion-dollar corporation. I can't say as an armchair guy that for sure you're doing the wrong thing. It seems like it to me, but you're the ones who have successfully protected your IP for so long. So what do I know? But yeah, it sure doesn't seem like the right thing to do. Like, Nintendo's right now throwing a bunch of DMCAs on people who are doing YouTube videos for the multiplayer mod for Breath of the Wild. Like, the fuck does that hurt? Breath of the Wild has been sold like 45 bajillion copies. Like, you got Tears of the Kingdom coming out, or
yeah,
you think people
you're
are going to be
doing
pissed
okay.
There's no multiplayer in there. Like, I don't know, man.
I mean, but I suppose even that makes a little bit more sense, right? Because if you have a bunch of people watching YouTube videos of a multiplayer mode, there could reasonably be an expectation that is a feature that would then somehow be missing from the game when that is not actually a thing in the... I still disagree.
I guess it's more akin to Nintendo taking down those, like, soundtrack pages. Like, some dude puts the soundtrack to the new Kirby game up on YouTube, and they're like, no, get that shit down. Okay, well, are you going to sell it to me? No.
No.
Fuck you, no.
We just don't want you to have it.
Yeah, but that's ours. We didn't give you permission to do that, so no.
Yeah, and that ultimately seems to be kind of what it is right now, like with what they're doing with Puzzle and Dragons, of like, this is mine, and I didn't say you could do that, so stop doing it. And it's not the end of the, like, it's certainly, if you go on the Puzzle and Dragons subreddit, which internet comments obviously being what they are, you would think that the world was literally ending for some of these people. And they're just like, this game is fucking unplayable now. Like, it's not unplayable. It's more difficult to play, and you might not want to go through the extra steps, as I certainly don't. However, Puzzle and Dragons is also a game that happens to be in a weird place right now, where when a new dungeon comes out, you either have a team that can beat it because it's the team you saw somebody beat it on YouTube with, or you have very close things to what you need, and you know you have them, or you're just not going to beat that dungeon right now. And that's okay. Like, everything is kind of a template at this point, because power creep has increased so much over the course of the last 11 years there's really not a lot of other things that can be done. It's like, these are the cards that you need, kind of where Marvel Snap is right now in the competitive thing. Like, people are playing a certain deck. This is what you need to beat it. And if you don't have that, you're not going to beat it. No matter how good or bad you are at the game, it's just not going to happen. Right? So it's kind of a frustrating thing. For a game that I still really, really love, you know, and that I think ultimately is the thing that bothers me the most about it, is that this is a game that I've spent a decent chunk of money on over the last however many years and really, really love it. And I hate to see something that I've supported and tried to get other people to play and, you know, given free advertising to on this platform and whatever, be a dick to their community. I just kind of hate that shit in general. You got people out here promoting your brand for free, and you're like, fuck you, don't do that. It's a very Nintendo thing, you're right.
It is a very Nintendo thing.
It's just very weird. And then we almost, apart from that, because the week has just been busy, Tiff has been working, I've been doing stuff for my job, like stuff that I've had to do when I got home, because we got big things coming up. That are just a pain in the ass that I don't want to do but have to do. So we've played a little bit more of Until Dawn. I think we're like an hour away from finishing that. And then I did fuck around and get a Shmemulator for PS2 because it was either last week or the week before. We mentioned Def Jam Vendetta a whole bunch of times, and I was like, I really got to fucking play Def Jam Vendetta. So I've played a lot of Def Jam Vendetta over the last like week or two. Because PS2 emulation is in a pretty good spot right now. Like a couple years ago, it was still kind of shaky, but there's some really, really good PS2 emulators that you know, are improving the graphics and like kind of smoothing things out, because PS2 games still look really good for the most part, but they definitely show their age and whatever. So there's some emulators out there that have some filters on them that are making things look a little smoother and run a little better, and that's kind of nice too.
All right.
Yeah. What about you?
Well, it's been hard to actually play games this week. I have put a little bit more time in the Dread, a little bit more time into Messenger, Kid Icarus Uprising. They're all great. I will say that I did try a little bit of the Vampire Survivors DLC the day it came out.
Oh, yeah.
Didn't get to do much of it again because there were kids everywhere and they were all playing Minecraft and blah, 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 blah. The TV was occupied a lot of the time. But I did get to play at least a level, the new level in the Vampire Survivors DLC. I unlocked one new character. I don't remember who it was, but I didn't get to try them out yet. So it was neat. I will very much look forward to spending more time with it. I did a video on the new Big 6 controllers for Stone Age Gamer. Do you know what these ones are?
I do not.
So the Big 6 controller is... it's an officially licensed Sega controller from Retrobit. And what it is, it's a combination between the original... It's the shape of the original 3-button Genesis controller, but with the D-pad and buttons of the 6-button controller.
That's pretty cool.
It is pretty cool. I was really impressed with it. I liked it a lot, because I've always liked the feel of the big, you know, what I consider the iconic Genesis controller. But like... I've always loved the D-pad of the 6-button and the obviously the 6 buttons, because, you know, 3's just not enough. Yeah. So yeah, that's a really good controller. I can't speak to its longevity. I know I have heard a couple of people make complaints about long-term use of these Retrobit officially licensed Sega controllers, maybe not functioning perfectly long term. I know my Saturn ones are still working great. I don't play a ton of Saturn, but whenever I do, I tend to use my wireless Retrobit controller for it, because it feels just like the original Saturn controller to me. But I was really impressed with the Big 6. I thought that was a really cool controller. I really liked that idea of it having the functionality of the 6-button, but with the form factor of the original one. And I'm kind of surprised nobody's done that already.
Yeah.
But here we are, getting cool new Genesis controllers, I guess. Let's see. My Mr. Gimmick vinyl showed up in the mail today.
I saw
ordered
that.
that one
That's
a while
pretty
back
awesome.
from Ship to Shore. It sounds great. Listened to it this afternoon. I also did get that Fountains of Wayne vinyl in the mail.
Nice.
The one that I ordered while we were recording. Yeah, showed up just fine. There it was. So that website's real, I guess. It works. And it was so much cheaper than I've seen it anywhere else, and I don't know why, but I'm glad because
Whatever.
It's a great album. I'm glad I have it. Just waiting
We're
for
gonna
that
have
last
to.
one.
We're gonna have to see if we can't get Ship to Shore to send us the a copy of the Celeste soundtrack. You know, so we can promote it for them.
Oh,
the
yeah.
new $120 box set or whatever that's coming out.
They definitely need us to help promote that for sure.
They definitely do, for sure. We had a great conversation. That thing looks fucking awesome.
Oh my god!
I'm so
yeah.
sad that I'm not going to have it because there's no way I'm dropping $120 on it.
Exactly.
But it's
Like
a
I'm not
really
gonna.
gorgeous looking
I
set.
love that soundtrack, but I don't listen to it very much. Like I was for a while there. I don't go back to that soundtrack very much. It's gorgeous, and then when I think about it, I'm like, that is really good music. But I just tend to not go back to it as much. But I was really glad to get this Gimmick one. It looks great. I haven't read the interview that's in it there yet. It's got some cool liner note stuff in there, but the album looks great, sounds great. So yay! And that's about it.
That's awesome.
Video game related for me this week. It's been a week, man. Having 5 kids in the house was a lot, and I know there are a lot of families out there that do that intentionally. But
Yeah, but
they're
they're stupid.
I was so happy to get back to just my 2 kids. Like, this is what I can handle. This is what I'm built for. 2 children is it. I'm out.
5 kids is a fucking lot, man.
It is a lot.
It really is.
They were very loud. I'm so glad we had that playground built in time, though, because that was a lifesaver. Every single night, just, all right, dinner's done, go. Outside. Everyone. Outside. Go run around.
Out.
And the weather cooperated. It was great. So. Oh, and there's a Samus Christmas ornament coming out. Did you see that?
Oh, nice. I did not.
It's one of the new Hallmark keepsake ones. It's a freaking Samus.
No, I was just going to bitch about the weather this week. It's been so fucking hot. I hated it.
We went to the beach. We were like,
fuck. What's
it was like
you go
80
to the
some odd
beach in
degrees.
April? The fuck, man.
We were like, all right, well, I guess we're taking all these kids to the beach. And then we did, and everybody had a great time. The water was too cold, but obviously the kids went in anyway because they're kids.
Of course they did.
But like we spent the day at the beach, and it was great.
That's absurd.
Shouldn't have been, but
no.
Here we were. Yeah, it got hot, but earlier in the week it's been great. Perfect yard work weather. Like earlier in the week, it was thumbs up. I spent all day outside, just all weekend, and then all the couple of days just doing yard work for days. Because the thing with the trencher was like, it was a very time consuming project. Like I kind of expected it to go faster, but that first time is like, then you got to go in there and clean all that up, and like it's not separating. Like you've now dug the trench, but there's still roots everywhere that you got to peel a bunch of stuff out for. A lot of it is hard. I'm getting so tired I can't even talk straight. It's only 11 o'clock. This is gonna be fun.
It's not,
but
a good
I am
sign.
tapped for the first part, with the exception of there was a listener question I wanted to address.
Yeah, I mean, this could, and knowing you and I mean, we could do an episode on anything. We could really do an entire episode on this.
We could, but I want to answer his question while it's still somewhat relevant.
Yeah.
Rather than wait a month. So honestly, I don't know how deep I'm going to get into this, right? So Trash Man from Discord
Buckle
asks,
in, kids. We're going to be here a while.
How do you guys pare down your collections? I'm trying to separate the wheat from the chaff, but I'm not sure how to go about it. First off, I like that expression, the wheat from the chaff. And I think some of this got talked about a little bit in the Discord, but really what I've been doing lately is I'm designing what's left of my collection around the space that I have now.
Right.
So like, I have just about every Genesis game I would want. But I have more room dedicated to Sega Genesis than that. So like in that category, it's like, all right, well, what filler do I think is neat enough to make it so that this is a solid row of this type of box? You know what I mean? I'm going for that one. I'm going for, first and foremost, it's all about what's important to me. So
Right.
what's on my walls, like the ones that are out on display, as it were, are my box stuff. I don't really have any cartridges out on display. It's all the stuff that are in boxes. And I have a lot of stuff up there that I would consider filler that's just there to fill the shelves. And the idea is to take that stuff out. This is the number of Super Nintendo games I can have. This is the number of NES games that I will have. And it's just a matter of weeding out the stuff that I don't necessarily care about in favor of filling these shelves with the things that I do. So, like, there are individual sets that I want to go for because I like the way that they all look. Like, I want to get all the Activision Atari 2600 games. I want to get all the Black Box NES games, like that kind of a thing. But I'm looking down my list. Like, I just did a video of a game room tour, and I'm like, here's my Super Nintendo games. I know this isn't exactly a hard game to find as Jurassic Park for Super Nintendo, but I only have it loose with the manual. I want the box. I don't have the box.
Right.
But I also have the Incredible Hulk Super Nintendo game that I don't care about at all. The idea is get rid of that game, pare that down, sell it, get Jurassic Park up on that shelf, because that game means something to me. Am I ever going to take that cartridge off the shelf and put it in my Super Nintendo and play it again? Probably not. If I'm going to play it, I'm going to play it on an EverDrive. But I will look at that box on my shelf, and it will make me think back to the fond memories I had of the game. Or I look at my shelf full of games to figure out what game I'm going to want to play. I don't look through the menus in my EverDrive or my FX pack because it's just text. It's like, I might see something that's neat there, but really I'm looking for like a feeling. And if I'm looking at a game that elicits some kind of feeling, that's the kind of thing that I want to keep. Just because, like, occasionally I will pull that box off the wall and look at it and be like, God, I remember picking this up in a rental store, or read the instruction manual and look at the pictures on the back of the box, or that kind of thing. Or even just look at the damn cartridge, because this stuff is neat to me. So really what it all boils down to is how I pare down my collection is I only want to keep the things that mean something to me for some sort of reason, be it a really awesome visual presentation. Like, there's a bunch of Genesis games that the games themselves I don't necessarily care about, but I love the way they look when they're lined up. So that's more than enough for me to want that on my shelf, because it reminds me of what it was like working at Funko Land and looking at all those games and boxes and stuff lined up on the shelves. It has just the look of those boxes means something to me. And that's why I collect those particular things. But on the whole, it's not about numbers with me anymore. Like, I'm not just trying to collect for the sake of collecting. Like, well, here's a game I don't have, I should buy this. Like, I'm past that. We're at the pare down stage. I know what kind of space I have. How do I fill that with only things that mean something to me?
Yeah, because make no mistake, like, we all, as collectors, whatever it is you're collecting, we all go through that more. Like, just new is new. New is new. I don't have it. I need it. I'm getting this. I'm buying this because it's a thing I don't have, and because I collect video games, or I collect fucking shot glasses, or whatever the fuck.
We've all been talking about collecting vinyl lately.
Yeah, like it you know, that's kind of the weird one, like, for me, because I kind of smartass. My response was, we just buy bigger places to put our stuff, which is kind of what you and I have done over the years. Is like, we've just moved into bigger homes, but now that we are in our theoretical permanent homes, you know, if decide to sell one day, like, whatever. But for right now, it really does become more about figuring out the things that are legitimately important to you. And if, like, numbers and quantity is the thing that's important to you, then, like, great. I'm not going to say there's no wrong way to be a collector of things, because there are obviously wrong ways to be a collector, like hoarding dickheads. Is not the way to be a collector.
No.
But there are very few wrong ways to be a collector. And it really comes down to, I think, setting goals for yourself, that that you want in your collection? Like, ultimately, what do you want your collection to be? Unfortunately, there's not really a template answer for it, right? Because what your collection is to you is the things that make you happy, and figuring out those things that make you happy are huge, and it's often very difficult. I know when Tiff and I first left New Jersey, back in I was 25, so however fucking long ago that was. In 2005, when we originally left New Jersey, I was, I've always been more of like an action figure collector than I have a video game collector. And I had a ton of video game stuff too, because I've always been a collector of whatever, baseball cards and comic books and all that stuff. But I had just a ridiculous amount of stuff. Like, I bought all of, McFarlane started putting out the Movie Maniacs. It was like the first line of like movie collectibles. And I was like, oh, Freddy and Jason and Leatherface and all this shit. I have to get these. I love these. And then I forget who put it out first. It might have been NECA that did it originally, got the license for Hellraiser. And they put out Pinhead, and then the rest of the Cenobites as well that had been in the Hellraiser movies. The fucking CD guy and the big fat dude and like the fucking dominatrix looking chick with the bald head and the face pinned back and all that weird shit. I know you don't know what I'm talking about, Chris, because you've never seen the Hellraiser movies. But there is a whole line of all these Cenobites. And if I'm going to have on my shelf in a display of movie figures, right? If I'm going to have Freddy and I'm going to have Jason and Michael Myers and Ghostface and Chucky and fucking Psycho and It and Pennywise and, which is the same thing, I know. But if I'm going to have like these iconic characters and then I have Pinhead and his fucking motley crew of Cenobites, like, that's just weird. Why did I buy all of these? This is a weird thing. I don't need these. I'm going to get rid of these. You know what I mean? And once you can make that first cut, that first time you can say, I don't need this particular thing as part of my collection anymore. I'm just going to either throw it away or sell it or give it to somebody who wants it more than I do, whatever. Once you make that first cut, getting rid of other stuff becomes so much easier. But you've got to break that seal first. That, I think, ultimately is the hardest part, is going from a collector to a curator.
Yeah, because once you start, you always run the risk, at least I personally always run the risk of like going too hard and be like, I'm not going to need this. I'm not going to need this. I'm not going to want this. I don't need this anymore. And then like a year or two later being like,
fuck.
Well, damn, I wish I still had that.
Yeah.
I really do wish I still had that. So that's why I haven't. So I've been very careful about what I've sold off so far. It's been a process. It's a difficult one. But yeah, that once you get past that hump of being able to get rid of stuff, then it's a matter of making sure that you don't get rid of everything, unless you really want to, unless you're just done with it.
Like, I don't have a lot of the stuff that I had when I was a kid that, like, I say I wish I had. Like, I wish I had all of my G.I. Joes, and I wish I had all of my Transformers and whatever. I actually really don't, though. Like, I have my He-Man stuff. I had all of the Thundercats. I had all of the original Playmates Turtles. I had all of this stuff. And if I had it today, it would be in a box in my attic. Because the stuff that's important to me is the He-Man stuff. And I don't even have most of what I had when I was a kid. Most of the He-Man stuff I have is stuff that I've repurchased over the years because it got sold at a garage sale or thrown out by mistake or whatever the case might have been over time. A lot of it is stuff I had replaced. But if I had all of that original stuff, all of the like, where am I putting the Rodimus Prime at this point? Like, I don't give a shit. I have a Grimlock, because Grimlock was my favorite Transformer. I've got 2 G.I. Joes. I've got Storm Shadow and Snake Eyes. Like, I don't need anything else. You know what I mean? So it just really does come down to that. What's the goal that you have with your collection? What are you actively trying to do? Like you said, Chris, you want all the black box Nintendo games, right? Like, all right, that's a goal. I want, when I look at my Marvel Legends that I have basically a representation of every character that I could possibly want. I fucking got a Sleepwalker figure last year, like, I was so blown away by that. The last one that is out that I don't have yet is the Toei Spider-Man, right? The Japanese TV Spider-Man.
Yeah.
I have to have that because it's one of my favorite things of all time. But once I get that, there are very few characters left that I would purchase. And I used to buy every wave of Marvel Legends. Whether they looked good or not, I bought the entire wave because I collect Marvel Legends. So when a new set comes out, I'm buying the whole set. And then there was one set, like, I missed 1 or 2 of the figures, and then we moved into a smaller apartment, and I was like, oh, well, I guess I don't do that anymore. And it was okay. You know what I mean? Like, ultimately, I think that's what it comes down to. It's okay. Once you make that cut, you'll be all right.
Word.
And then you'll pick up a new hobby, like buying vinyl.
Or crack.
Or crack. Either way. I mean, I don't know that you want to collect crack, though. I feel like that's more of a consumable than a... Look at all my crack rocks that I have here on the shelf. I don't know. But I don't know. I don't smoke crack. I could be way off.
For grading crack?
Is there? I mean, there probably is. You fucking grade everything else. Yeah, I mean, like I said, ultimately, I think once you have to have that shift in mindset from collector to curator. I'm putting the things here that are actively important to me, that make me the happiest, and the rest of it, if I want to see a picture of it, my phone is in my pocket. I can pull up Google at any time. And oh, look, there it is.
All right. Well, I think we've covered that. And on that note, we are going to take ourselves a quick break. When we come back, Dan's going to lay on the casting couch or whatever. I don't know how casting couches work, but
I don't know, but I have my pants off. So I think that's the way it's supposed to go.
It's going to go somewhere. He's got a plan, and we're going to follow it, and it's going to be great. I don't know what I'm going to be able to contribute, but I'm happy to be here. You're listening to the Stone Age Gamer podcast from Geekade.com. Stick around. And now, here's a quick look at some of the other original content available now from our partners and Geekade.com.
First up, the 3DE. Nope.
Nailed it.
Oh, man. It's late. It's Saturday. I've been drinking. Hold on. Let me drink more. That'll help.
Always does.
All right. Take 2. First up, 3DS eShop, nailed it that time, is closed, but that doesn't mean we should ever stop talking about it. For this very reason, Kris chose to listen to the music of Art Style, Pictobits, a DSiWare game that's no longer officially available anywhere on the planet. It's got crazy cool remixes of classic NES music and frantic puzzle action. What did Matt make of these wild tunes? Find out in Waveback episode 161, Art Style Pictobits.
Next, have you ever heard of Remute? Sure you have. We interviewed him on this very show. Did you know he has lots of albums available at StoneAgeGamer.com right now? Well, of course you did. You have your finger on the pulse of the retro gaming community, and you know what's cool. What's that you say? You don't know what I'm talking about? Well, you, yes you, should head on over to Stone Age Gamer, the YouTube channel, the underwear. Visit the lunchbox, Spaceballs, the underwear, and watch the Remute catalog. Watch the Remute catalog overview that I made with my own eyeballs and hands. Then you should know.
Just my eyes.
You will know what is cool. You're welcome.
I kept putting my eyeballs on the keys of the keyboard. Ah, fuck! It hurts. For all this and more from us and our partners, be sure to keep your peepers on geekade.com.
All right, we are back. We are back and better than ever. And I don't have any apples. All right, I've heard it said, and I've messed with this before. You can't fall asleep while eating an apple. And so you eat an apple and you're gonna stay awake. So like when I would go on really long car rides at night, and I'd be like, well, I'm gonna fall asleep because I'm very good at falling asleep at the wheel.
Jesus. It's not a thing you should be really good at, Kris.
It's not. I have a hard time staying awake while driving, which is really fun.
Wow.
But apples help. I don't have any apples right now, Dan. So I have a bag of chocolate-covered raisins that I'm going to be chomping on while we're finished the rest of the show. I was planning on saving these because I like chocolate-covered raisins a lot, and I just got them today.
I do, too.
They're
it's a
really
weird
good
combination. Maybe chocolate-covered tuna is good, Kris.
I sincerely fucking doubt it.
I 100% doubt it, but maybe. It's like some red shit.
Anything could happen, right?
Yeah.
What do I know? Dan?
Whole bunch. So Kris,
the floor is yours.
Thank you. So this is not going to be as well thought out or developed as the Metal Gear casting couch, because Kris didn't do his fucking homework. That's really what it comes down to. And he had nothing else going on this week. As clearly evidenced by the first half of the show, Kris had lots of free time to refamiliarize himself with Devil May Cry, the original game, and decide who, if they were going to make a movie, a live-action movie of the first Devil May Cry, who should be in the movie, right? Because as video game movies are becoming more popular and they're becoming more serious, I actually do legitimately think Devil May Cry is something that is going to be on the radar to be made, right?
It's possible.
I don't know. To me, it feels like one that somebody would look at and be like, all right, this is fucking cool. And then they would watch the cutscenes and be like, we got to rewrite like all of this. There's literally nothing here we can use. But Dante's a cool character. It's cool enough story. Let me give you the, for those of you who don't know or who haven't played Devil May Cry in quite a while, it is, originally it was a PS2 title done by Hideki Kamiya for Capcom. Right, came out originally on August 23rd of 2001, and it was set, and I'm just going to read now, it's set in modern times on the fictional Mallet Island. The story centers on Dante, a demon hunter who uses his business to carry out a lifelong vendetta against all demons. He meets a woman named Trish, after she throws a motorcycle at him, who takes him on a journey to defeat the demon lord Mundus, who is responsible for the deaths of both Dante's brother and mother. The story is told primarily through a mixture of cutscenes, which use the game engine, several pre-rendered full-motion videos. The game is very, and when we say very, we mean like hot dog down a hallway, kind of very loosely based on the Italian poem Divine Comedy by Dante Alighieri, including the game's protagonist, Dante, after the aforementioned Mr. Alighieri, and then other characters like Trish and Virgil. So originally this game was supposed to be Resident Evil 4. But as they were developing the story of this game, the people at Capcom were like, no, this doesn't work as Resident Evil 4. This has definitely got to be its own thing. And it's kind of like a mixture of some like it's more action oriented than Resident Evil or Onimusha, but it definitely has some DNA from both of those games in there, while also pushing forward with being a game that really focused on really cool action of like uppercutting a demon with your sword and then firing the guns at it and doing all this really cool stuff. And you got scored on how good your combos were. And then eventually you would build up a meter and you had your devil trigger, which you would turn into this really weird devil form of Dante, and you play throughout this whole game. It's a ridiculous game. But it is something that I really loved. The original Devil May Cry franchise, I thought was just fucking awesome. I went back today. I was just telling Kris in the break, I went back today and watched a 41-minute video. Somebody edited together all of the cutscenes from Devil May Cry. That's how I pulled the list of characters here for us to talk about. And well, I thought Kris would have a list, but no, he's just going to tell me that all of mine are awesome. And it's ridiculous. It's nowhere near as cool as I thought it was. But I think that kind of works for it, right? And as I was talking about it with Tiff earlier today, whenever you're casting a movie, right, and you're starting to do this thing, you know this, Kris, being a big time Hollywood agent and a mover and a shaker in Tinseltown. One of the things that you want to start with is the director, right? Like, who is going to be the visionary for this project? Who's going to bring this to life? And I waffled between two choices. The one who I think would be the second best choice, though it would end up being ultimately a very, very different movie than the guy I ultimately thought should direct it. I thought for a while here that Sam Raimi would be a good choice to direct a Devil May Cry movie.
No, I don't agree with that.
Yeah. I think it would end up being a very different movie than what the game, the true spirit of the game. But this is a game that is very firmly rooted in kind of over-the-top, ridiculous kind of horror, gory, bloody, giant spiders and fucking demons and shit. And it's super cheesy, like a lot of the one-liners that are, I mean, legitimately in the very first scene of the game opens up with Dante sitting in his office, the offices of Devil May Cry, where he is a demon hunter. And Trish doesn't come through the front door like when you hear that normally somebody says you come in through the front door, you think somebody walks in through the front door. No. Trish rides her motorcycle through the building and then stabs Dante with a sword, shoots him with electricity, and then throws her motorcycle at him. So there is an element here of like that ridiculous kind of Sam Raimi-esque shit.
Yeah, but I can't see it being shot the way that Sam Raimi would shoot those kinds of things. See, when I thinking about this game, and if you're gonna adapt this game into a movie, you've got to take the action is really where it's at,
the
right?
star.
Like,
yeah,
the action is the star. So the first thing that pops into my mind right now, because I'm thinking of this right now, is Chad Stahelski. Is that how you say it?
I don't know who that is.
He's the guy who directs the John Wick movies.
Okay, yeah, I could see that.
Because like you're gonna do meticulous martial arts and combined with gunplay. That's what you want this to be. But you also, I don't know if this guy can do, this sort of like gothic horror monstery stuff on it, because his director, is directing he's wow, look at that. He's the director of the Ghost of Tsushima. Mm-hmm. That's in pre-production right now. Well, and that's something. and as well as the Highlander reboot. He's apparently involved in
there
that.
can be only none.
That can, but he's really just directed the 4 John Wick movies, really. But he's working on stunts.
I've not seen any of those.
I saw the first one. I thought it was fucking great. I should see the rest of them too. But like he's been involved in stunt coordinating for like a bunch of stuff. And yeah, I think this guy's got the right head for a Devil May Cry movie.
Yeah, see, ultimately, not having seen the John Wick movies, I did want to like talk about people that I knew, right? I think he would be, based on what I know of the Devil May Cry, or not Devil May Cry, of the John Wick stuff. He sounds like somebody that would be for this. I thought the perfect guy for this would be Robert Rodriguez.
Okay, yeah, I could see that.
He's got a foot in some of that, like the horror supernatural stuff. He's done really cool action sequences. He's done really interesting things throughout his career. He's not the best human being on the planet, because of some stuff that like went down, like he had an affair and like that kind of stuff. But like, that's not the worst thing in the world. But there's more to the story there. He's kind of been absent for a while because some of the shenanigans that he got up to. But I don't think it's anything that would ultimately prevent him from being like, and his fucking comeback movie is fucking Devil May Cry. Whatever. I really like Robert Rodriguez movies in general. You know, fucking From Dusk Till Dawn and Desperado, Once Upon a Time in Mexico, Sin City. Like, that shit's fucking dope. You know. Anyway.
What do you think of, I don't know if it's Louis Leterrier?
He did, what did he do?
Incredible Hulk and the Transporter movies.
Yeah, I could see something like that. That could be really cool.
Because what brings me to this guy is that he also, cause I was like, all right, he directed Fast X. I was like, I've been watching these Fast and Furious movies and like the whole motorcycle through the wall thing, completely ignoring reality. It's like, yeah, I could see somebody who's directed some Fast and Furious movies in here. But then I looked at this guy's resume, and he did a bunch of episodes of the Dark Crystal: Age of Resistance. So a fantasy element is not outside of this guy's repertoire.
Yeah, no, I think those are all solid
choices.
Yeah, I like that. All right, so going then down the list here, I think so. Sparta is the father of Dante and his twin brother Virgil, right? And in the first game, there are some flashback sequences of Sparta originally fighting Mundus back in the day. And I think for a movie, that is the type of thing that would be expanded upon. So based on the actors that I cast for Dante and Virgil, you would need an actor in his late 50s. You could maybe push it with like early 50s, but 50s like pushing 60, because the actors that I picked for Dante and Virgil are in their 30s. So the guy that I think could capture this kind of old school, fucking badass looking knight that looks like he's been through some wars and has seen some shit, and also happens to be in his mid 50s, would be Liev Schreiber.
Okay.
I think that dude's a really good fucking actor. I think he's been really good in fucking everything I've seen him in. And of currently working actors that are around that age, I think the best choice is actually Nikolaj Coster-Waldau, but that was who I cast as Solid Snake in Liquid Snake in the last time we did this, so I didn't want to do it again. So I ended up with Liev Schreiber here, right? Can you think of anybody off the top of your head right now that would kind of fit that older knight barbarian kind of look that Sparta has in this movie? Or in this game, I suppose.
I mean, my first thought, just based on age and everything, was Keanu Reeves. Yeah, he's a bit on the older side, and
yeah, he's like in his mid 50s now. I think.
Yeah, but I don't know about that. He's not. He's not.
I don't like Keanu Reeves all that much as an actor. I really don't.
I like Liev Schreiber better for what you're talking about here. I'm struggling to think of anybody else that I would put there. Maybe Hugh Jackman.
Yeah, I could see Hugh Jackman.
That'd be interesting,
right?
But I still think Liev Schreiber's got the, which is funny thinking of Hugh Jackman, Liev Schreiber, because he was fucking Sabretooth in those terrible
Wolverine,
terrible Wolverine movies.
Yeah. Old Man Logan was pretty good. That one was all right.
I still haven't seen Logan. I know I should.
I don't think Liev Schreiber's in that one though.
No, he's not.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure he's not. You know what? Patrick Stewart. There you go.
I mean, because like dudes that you're talking about that are around that age, you're talking about like Johnny Depp and Brad Pitt and Keanu Reeves and like all of these guys.
I'm just thinking of the attitude, and like,
yeah,
none of those other people you mentioned would have that attitude. There's something about Reeves's build I think doesn't quite work for this guy. And
yeah,
I think
you want a little bulkier.
Liev Schreiber's got it. Yeah, I think Liev Schreiber's got the bulk where Reeves does not. How old's Henry Cavill?
He's a little too young for this particular thing. I mean, you could age him up a little bit, and that's kind of like the weird thing that Hollywood does. Like, what is it? Fucking in one, it was in back-to-back movie, and I know I'm going back like 20 years now, but in back-to-back movies, Tom Hanks.
Tommy Tallarico.
Tommy Hanks. Me and Tom Hanks are really cool. We're good friends, so I call him Tommy. Tom Hanks and Sally Field were like, they played a couple in one movie, and then the very next movie that came out with them together was Forrest Gump, where Sally Fields is his mother. You know, so like, you can always age up people to play, and Henry Cavill certainly works for that. But would he do it, Chris? If we, as we're making our phone calls, he'll be like, but I just fucking did The Witcher. You know?
I got Warhammer in the bag here.
I got Warhammer. I'm doing that.
Yeah, I think he's turning us down. I think
I don't need a third video game property, but Liev Schreiber.
Yeah, I think you got it. I think you nailed it.
All right. So there's a couple boss fights in the game where characters talk to you, and one of the first ones, there's a giant fuck off spider that like comes down and is talking mad shit to Dante the whole time. So this would have to be a guy with a cool voice that could be like an evil spider fucker. Because that is legitimately, I forget what his name is, and I didn't bother to look it up because ultimately this is just a silly exercise. But on my list, on the Google Doc that I created today, I did write Giant Spider Fucker as the name of the character. And for Giant Spider Fucker, I think the perfect voice for that would be Ron Perlman. That guy's got such a good voice, and it's such a cool, interesting voice. And he doesn't play the villain as much anymore. And I would like to see him as the villain again. You know?
Yeah, I mean, really the only counter I have to that is Clancy motherfucking Brown.
I thought that was too easy. Because, like, the voices for Giant Spider Fucker, Griffin, and Mundus are all kind of in a similar bassy... Yeah, they're demons, right? So they have, like, dark, evil-sounding voices. So, like, you could put Clancy Brown as any of them, and I wouldn't be mad at it.
You could, and you should put it as one of them. You know what? Fuck it. Ronda Rousey.
That's actually who I had for Dante and Virgil. I wanted her to play both. I thought she'd be really good at it. All right, so Ron Perlman / Clancy Brown for the Giant Spider Fucker. Okay, and not Spider Fucker like as in one who fucks spiders, just a big fucking spider.
And while we're talking about people who played Hellboy, you know, what's his name?
David
Hopper. Yes.
That's who it is, right? That's who played Hopper? It's David.
No, in Stranger Things.
David Harbour.
David Harbour, yeah.
Yeah.
He'd
You can
be
see
pretty
how
good.
I got to David Hyde Pierce first.
I can, and now I'm just thinking of like, it's gotta be Frasier and Niles. Daphne can play Trish.
I love it.
Perfect.
Frasier's such a good fucking show. This is great. Who knew? Who knew we already had the cast?
It's just the cast of Frasier and Devil May
As
Cry.
long as Kelsey Grammer shows up and goes, "Arrgh!" It's like, what? It's not her fucking name, dude. But who's going to correct Kelsey Grammer? It's Kelsey fucking Grammer. Anyway, so Giant Spider Fucker, Ron Perlman, or Clancy Brown. So the next voice we need to cast then is the giant evil bird that is like the second in command to the head demon Mundus, right? The lord of fucking whatever. And this you fight this bird. It's a pretty cool fight. You do it twice, and sorry, excuse me. There's a lot of things happening. I've been drinking quite a bit. So you fight this giant bird a couple of times, and the second time you fight him, Dante, right as like this big pillar falls down on top of Griffin, and Griffin kind of starts talking shit to Dante again, like, I'm still gonna fucking kill you. And he pleads to his master, he pleads to Mundus to give him the strength to kill Dante, to avenge him. And Mundus shows up and is like, no, you failed me, you don't deserve this opportunity. And he kills him. But I was thinking, so right, in my mind, if I've got Robert Rodriguez directing this movie, then at some point there's going to have to be a spot for Danny Trejo, because that is how Robert Rodriguez works, right? Danny Trejo is in a lot of Robert Rodriguez movies. I also think Danny Trejo, now that he's certainly older, kind of has that weathered, beaten down, and I think he could do that somewhat subservient, but still badass kind of voice, right? As he's pleading for his master to give him the strength to take down Dante, and ultimately being disappointed. I can just see Danny Trejo bringing the pathos that was needed for this particular role. So that's who I went with. Who do you got for the giant bird, Chris?
Willem Dafoe.
That's not a bad choice either.
I didn't think it was.
I like Willem Dafoe a lot.
I feel like he's
also got that kind of weathered, like one of the, like William Dafoe has that quality too, right? If you think about like Spider-Man Homecoming, when he's talking as Norman, as non-crazy Norman, and he does, what did I do? Right? He delivers that line.
He's definitely got that in him. I think he could pull that off nicely.
And he's got, did you see that the one he did with Batman with Robert Pattinson, The Lighthouse, where it's like the two of them, it's black and white and they go fucking crazy? Because he's got that explosive element as well. I think, Willem Dafoe, Danny Trejo, almost the same person. I mean,
clearly 1-to-1,
virtually identical, right? I mean, if whenever a role comes up, you could be like, I mean, I was thinking Willem Dafoe, and the other person would be like, I was thinking Danny Trejo, and you'd be, yes, 100%, right fucking there. I think that is an excellent choice as well. All right, so then going on to the big bad, right? The big bad guy of the first game, Mundus, which is a terrible name. But Mundus, the big fucking evil demon. Again, another guy with a deep voice. Doesn't have to talk a lot, but does have to talk some shit and strike some fear into you, but also have some emotion behind it. And I think the guy for that job is Vin Diesel, because he's ultimately got that incredibly deep voice. It's so fucking resonant, right? Like that's just that bass coming through. Could have, and he's a pretty good actor. Like a lot of times you look at Vin Diesel, and I know you've been looking at a lot of Vin Diesel.
I've been looking at a lot of Vin Diesel. And yeah, you're right. He's got gravel, the voice,
but he's a pretty good actor. You know, when you think about Groot,
think about living your life a quarter mile at a time.
Quarter mile at a time. It's all about family, Chris. When you think about Groot, the fact that he is able to elicit such emotion from an audience, only saying the same words over and over again. It's all in the inflection. It's all in the intonation, the tone that he brings out. That it's actually a fucking fascinating sort of acting performance that he is given as Groot.
Yeah. Okay.
You thought I was making like a profound point.
Look. I mean, look, I agree with you to an extent, but I also think a lot of what makes those Groot scenes as powerful as they are is everything else that's happening around them. Like, obviously, his delivery is a big part of that, but also the music that's playing at those times, everyone's reactions to what he's saying.
Sure.
A lot goes into that besides just that. But I do think you're right. On the Vin Diesel train, right? We're talking about a character that you're just going to do a voice for. There's not going to be like a dude standing there. We're talking
He's
about some
a giant fucking flying demon with wings, and like he starts off as like this huge marble statue. It's kind of a ridiculous character.
All right. Here's my thought.
Okay.
This is a stretch, but
Ronda Rousey. Again.
Ronda Rousey. David Kaye.
Who is David Kaye?
David Kaye is a voice actor. He did a voice of was Arishem in Eternals, but I know him most for Megatron in the Beast Wars series.
Okay.
This
Picking
dude
up what you're putting down.
This dude does villain so deliciously well, and like part of me wanted to say Peter Cullen, but then I'm like, you know what? I like this guy. I've always loved David Kaye as Megatron, and I also liked him as Professor X in X-Men Evolution. And I think if you're going to do something like this, if you're going to do a role like this, you do a voice actor, not just an actor.
Sure.
And yeah, this guy's done so much friggin' stuff over the years. I mean, he played Vandal Savage in Young Justice. Like I said, he did Arishem in the Eternals recently. Because in one of the two recent He-Man Master of the Universe things, he was Cringer and Battle Cat and a bunch of other voices. But like,
sure.
When I think of this guy, and I think of the malevolence that came out of him, even on something as cheesy as Beast Wars, like, this guy is capable. He is fucking capable. If a script is put in front of him, I'm without a doubt. I think he would be a really cool pick for something like this.
All right. Well, we are coming down to the top three now. The most important roles here in the movie, and the third most important, I would argue, would be the role of Trish, who sets Dante down this mission. Ultimately, it is revealed that Trish is in fact working for Mundus, and has double-crossed Dante. But he's such a good dude, he saves her anyway because she looks like his mother, and that's why Mundus made her that way. He made her to look like Dante's mother just to fuck with Dante, because Mundus is just an evil fucker. But as I was watching...
Martha?
Martha! Why did you say that? As I was watching the cutscenes today, there was just, it kept jumping out of me that the model that they used for the game looked a little, because it's PS2, but was reminding me a ton of Evan Rachel Wood. And I also think she is a really, really good actress. I like her in everything that I've seen her in. And I think she could play both parts because, spoilers for this game that came out in 2001, at the end of Devil May Cry, Trish decides to turn her back on Mundus after he fucking kills her, or seems to kill her with a giant laser beam, and then helps Dante, and then they team up and whatever, and then Trish is a good guy. But I think Evan Rachel Wood could kind of walk that line between like the flirty badass and then the actual evil girl, and then turning out to be good there at the end.
I'm not sold. I'm not sold, but I'm not like, yeah, 100%. I'm on board. I'm like, I'm 50-50 on that. I'm trying to think of, I feel like Trish needs to be somebody that has that physicality. You know, I don't know what Evan Rachel Wood's combat capabilities are. What a sentence that was. Even with training, you know what I mean? Like, but I'm thinking of like movie training, and it's like there's a difference between the way a martial artist moves, and you think back to like the first Mortal Kombat movie. There's a difference between the actors who played Katana moves and the actors who played Sonya moves. You know what I mean?
Sure.
You can train somebody on that, but there's something about a natural physicality of somebody who is a martial artist.
There's a fluidity to it. Now, keep in mind, though,
fluidity and like a rigidness to it as well, you know?
Keep in mind that Trish does not do a ton of hand-to-hand fighting, though. She's kind of like a demon using magical shit, too.
That is true.
So you don't need a straight-up martial artist for the role.
That's fair.
I don't know. I was also thinking... just based on looks, the oh god, I just blanked on her name. The girl from Euphoria, not Zendaya, but the friend. Who's also trying to find actresses that were around 30, early 30s, or somewhere in there. Fuck, why can I not think of her name now? Mystique. Who played Mystique? Jennifer.
Hunger Games. Jennifer Lawrence? There you go.
Yeah. I was kind of thinking her too, but Trish has kind of that, like, I don't see Jennifer Lawrence in like the leather outfit.
She's not smoky.
Yeah, right. I see that the kind of sultry, kind of temptress, demonic succubus almost. I feel like Evan Rachel Wood is kind of down that path.
I think it's got to be Ronda Rousey. Perfect. Ronda Rousey or Richard Ayoade. That's one of the two.
I mean, I don't disagree with Richard Ayoade for anything. Don't fucking threaten me with a good time. I love that guy.
I can't think of anyone better. And I'm trying to like do the rundown of the TV shows that I've been watching lately. Like somebody's got to be there. That's just not.
Wasn't there? Who was the blonde girl on Arrow?
Oh,
I don't know if she's Canary or not.
Meh.
No, okay.
No, I don't think so. Nobody on Mandalorian. Oh, Jon Stewart. That'd be.
Be a very different movie. One I'd want to see though. I'm not gonna lie.
Farts. Yeah, no one's jumping out at me. I'm like, all right, so I watched that Shadow and Bone show, and there's a lot of people I liked in that, but yeah, nobody's jumping out at me for that role. All right, fine, you win. Evan Rachel Wood. I can't think of anybody better.
All right, so then that brings us to Dante and Virgil. Now, in this first game, Virgil does not have a very big part, right? You fight him 3 times. You don't see that he's Virgil until the 3rd time when you kind of break him of Mundus's curse. He's mostly covered up in armor, but he is Dante's twin brother. Okay. And thinking about this as this would be a franchise, right? You're kind of franchise building for everything. I had a thought originally, and my first thought, but I think they're just a little bit too old for this particular franchise, and they're not as good of actors. But my first thought would be to cast actual twins, and that would be Sean and Aaron Ashmore. As Sean as Dante and Aaron as Virgil. And then I thought,
no. I like those guys too, but that doesn't feel right to me at all.
That doesn't really work. So, but then out of the ether of my mind, Kris, came the most perfect casting choice. Now, I don't know how much Nickelodeon you watched back in the day, and I don't know how much Riverdale you currently watch.
Oh, are you talking Pete and Pete?
No. I'm talking about, of course, the seminal masterpiece, The Sweet Life of Zack and Cody, starring twin brothers Cole Sprouse and Dylan Sprouse. What do you know of them?
I'm learning about it right now. That's what I know about them.
So look up a picture as we are talking right now of Cole Sprouse and Dylan Sprouse. And tell me that they are not, obviously with like the makeup and the weird emo haircut that Dante has and the weird Virgil look and whatever, that these two, they're 30 years old, so perfect to build a franchise around. One of them is currently on Riverdale doing some stuff. They're both like still currently acting. They're not nearly as popular as they were when they were younger kids in The Sweet Life of Zack and Cody, because that show was, while it was not for us, it was in fact a big, massive, stinky deal. Cole Sprouse as Dante and Dylan Sprouse as Virgil, I think is about the best casting job you could possibly do.
Well, I mean, Adam Sandler.
Other than Adam Sandler.
Okay. Yeah, I guess I can see where you're coming from. They're not striking me as like, I'm not seeing a lot on that has a specific presence that I'd be looking for. And the first thing that came to my mind was what's this guy's name? Tyler Hoechlin. He's the one who's currently playing Superman on the Superman and Lois show.
Okay. I don't know that.
I haven't seen the Superman and Lois show, but I watched Supergirl for quite a while, and this guy's just got a real charisma to him.
Okay.
And he's playing this Superman very good. He's playing a very good Superman, but I feel like he could also pull off the smarminess of a Dante, and I feel like he's got the right build for classic Dante, not like young dude Dante, like the classic Dante of the first Devil May Cry. I feel like he's got a decent face for it. I like this guy. I haven't seen him in much other than his current Superman role, but I feel like he would be a pretty good plot spot for it. I'm trying to find how old he is. I have no idea.
Because that's the other thing too, though. You got to find somebody to play the twin brother. Right now, you could do the same guy as both characters. That is certainly a possibility. Or they don't have to be identical twins. They could be fraternal twins and whatever. I just thought, here's an opportunity to cast actual twin brothers in a film together. And wouldn't that be a cool idea? Because the other thought I had, too, was to just get the two dudes from Supernatural. Fucking what's-his-face and what's-his-face. To be fucking...
yeah?
Because there's that smarminess and that kind of cocky one-liner bullshit that Dante delivers that Jensen Ackles, I think, would be really good at. And then...
Jensen Ackles would be pretty hilarious. Like that, I do think he might be a little old, but...
I think he's just a little too old.
Because, like, Tyler Hoechlin's a few years younger than me, so he's like mid-30s.
Yeah.
So,
like,
but I think that's
it
probably
feels a little too old, but, you know, I mean, Robert Downey Jr. was in his 40s when they started Iron Man, so...
Yeah, I mean, let's see.
You know.
Jensen Ackles... Oh, Jensen Ackles is older than us. Jensen Ackles is 78.
The fuck out of here. Jensen Ackles isn't 78.
Born in 78, not 70.
How fucking dare you? He looks
Born
really
in
good
70.
for an almost 80-year-old man. God damn.
That would
So
be
he's like
fun. That would be
43,
amazing,
44.
though.
Like, that just feels a little too old.
Yeah, it does for Dante.
You know? I think it's the Sprouse brothers. I really do.
If you say so. I'm not gonna fight you too hard on it, but I like my Superman guy. I feel like he's a good pick.
But all right, so then who you got for Virgil?
Same dude.
All right.
Or Ronda Rousey. You know what? Did you know what I got for Virgil? Who's the guy who plays Homelander?
Oh, Anthony something, right?
How old's this guy? The boys. Homelander. Anthony Starr.
Anthony Starr.
There's also something just like delicious about the idea of like, well, here's a dude who plays Superman, and here's a dude. His evil version is the dude who plays Homelander. Like, come on, that's fantastic. But this guy is he's from New Zealand, and he was born in 1975. Jesus, really? He does not look that old.
No.
Huh. Well,
yeah, he's 47.
Wow.
Yeah, I don't know. Now that we're like approaching that age, you know, and I mean, still like that feels like fuck out of here, old man. Fucking 47.
I just think of the way that I feel and look at the way this guy looks and think clearly I've been doing shit wrong.
Yeah, clearly you not being a Hollywood actor with a stunt team and nutritionist is really, you know, it's really kind of unleveled the playing field, as it were.
You know, fuck it. Age aside, I'm still voting for that. That's my vote. Those two.
All right. It's not a bad pick. He's a good dude. I like that guy a lot.
I did okay for no prep.
For not knowing at all what you were going to talk about. No, that's how we roll here on the Stone Age Gamer. We just fucking make shit up. And because really, guys, if we're being honest, this was kind of thrown together at the last minute because we really didn't have much to talk about this week, and it was just kind of a heck of a week.
God, we didn't even mention the Zelda trailer. Son of a bitch.
No, we didn't.
I was so not excited.
I know you're super excited. I watched it and went, yeah, okay. I mean, if it feels like a game that I should be super into, and I just wasn't.
I love sexy Ganondorf.
Did nothing for me.
I love sexy Ganondorf.
But that was one of the ones that we kind of talked about, kicking the idea back and forth of like, all right, well, what do we do for a Zelda movie? Mm-hmm. Like, well, fuck, who's even in a Zelda movie at this point? Like, what story are you telling? You know,
you probably
tell
Ocarina of Time. Honestly, that's probably what you do. It's the most classic story, you know.
Yeah, we'll get there one day.
We will. Right now, we need to get the fuck to bed.
Right now, we need to go to bed. This turned out pretty well. I am curious, listeners, once you guys hear this episode, who would you cast in a Devil May Cry movie? Other than Ronda Rousey and Richard Iwata, obviously.
All day, every day.
Written and directed by Ronda Rousey, obviously. Again.
That whole scene was just fucking embarrassing. That whole scene.
She's the worst.
I was like, boy,
you should watch her wrestle. It's somehow worse than her acting.
I remember when this lady was like all
an
over.
Actual fighter. And then she gets in the wrestling ring and it's like, your punches should look better than that. This is bad.
Anyway.
Yeah. she sucks on toast. I wouldn't say it to her face, though, because she could beat the shit out of me.
Yeah, me too.
Wouldn't even be close. All right, Kris, wrap us up.
Son of a bitch. Words. That's our show. Join us next week when we will be tackling the April 10, 20, 30, 40, because time continues to march on whether we like it or not. It's the end of April. Is it the end of April? No, we record early. That's why it feels like it's farther away than it is. Because, like, all right, we're going to record the April 10, 20, 30, 40, and I haven't even gotten Advance Wars yet.
Sure.
So, yeah. March of time. Anyway, we're on most social media platforms. And if you want to get in touch with us, we aren't very difficult to find. All it takes is a quick look at our show notes. You'll see links to our social media accounts, as well as all manner of other fun stuff, like a link to our namesake, StoneAgeGamer.com, and more useful links than you can shake a joystick at. If you'd like to get early access to this show's episodes, as well as a bevy of other shows on the Geekade Podcast Network, check out our Patreon, also linked to in the show notes. It helps keep the show running week after week, and all our patrons are loved and appreciated, just like these sweet, sweet, delicious chocolate-covered raisins. This show's theme song, Squared Roots, was written by Banjo Guy Ali. You can learn all about his wonderful music and more by following the link to his YouTube channel, also in the show notes. And finally, as always, we'd like to thank our intrepid editor, Evan, for having another job and making me do the editing this week again.
Fucking prick.
So, blanket apologies for whatever shitty job I do editing this show. I'm not going to have time to do it tomorrow, but it's got to be done by Tuesday. So it's probably going to happen abbreviated on Monday. I'm sorry. I'm trying.
No,
so
this was a perfect episode.
I'm going to try and make this show listenable for all you folks. And I'd like to thank all you folks for listening in the first place. That is it. I am done. I'm out. Fucking hell. I can't even
Punching
see
out,
straight.
Maverick. Talk to me, Goose.
I love you all on behalf of all of us here. And Dan, keep...
Nope. That wasn't it. That's not how it goes.
Keep playing games.